Namaskar, hello everyone. Welcome to today's session. So, in the series of horoscope analysis and understanding the key elements, how to deal with a horoscope analysis, this is our second video, and today we'll be discussing a brief uh, on the different aspects of planets and how to decode their aspect and how to decode their relation. So I'll be handing over to Dharmesh ji and he will be taking us through the content. So over to you, Dharmesh ji.
So, in Jai Sri Ram to all, in previous lecture, we understood about houses. We also understood what are key elements which are need to be understood into horoscope analysis. House is first, signs, planet, relative planet, and lord of the house are important parameters, important element to be understood while analyzing horoscope. We also understood classification of houses, Kendra and Trikon houses. Uh, uh, we also understood signification of each house, and there are some different layers. For example, if we are thinking about political analysis, so that in political analysis, which house represent what parameter, assembly, parliament, whatever may be. If we are thinking about relationship, so which house represent which kind of relationship, all these things we have understood into our previous lecture. So today uh, we are going to understand about planets. uh, shall we go to the slide presentation, planets? uh, so there are 9 planets. Uh, planets can be malefic or benefic. uh, uh, some planets are sometimes retrograde and direct motion. For example, Rahu and Ketu, these two planets are always retrograde. Moon and Sun, these two planets are always in direct motion. While Mars, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, and Saturn, these five planets can be direct or retrograde depending on the position of Sun. If these five planets are in the sixth, seventh, and eighth house from the Sun, uh, there are chances that these planets will be retrograde. This is about outer planets. Jupiter and Saturn, these two planets are outer planets, and Mars, these three planets are outer planets. This statement is true in retrogression statement is true for these three planets, while in Mercury and Venus, this retrogression system is different. Now, a sun, in general sense, it represents our pride. In relationship, it represents father. It represents our soul and bones in our body parts. Uh, uh, it represents our government, and in politics, it represents the king. The gender of the sun is male, and naturally, it is considered as malefic planet. Uh, Second, our planet is moon. Moon, it represents caringness. In relationship, it represents our mother. Mind is can be seen from the moon. It signifies water. In politics, it represents a king, queen, and its gender is female. Now, moon is actually responsible for our in for any female. It represents inner beauty, caringness, lovingness, maturity. All these things are represented through moon.
Right. So all the emotions that are associated with mother, like caringness, loving, empathy, compassion.
Yes,
So these are all the emotions that we can associate with moon.
yeah, and the outer beauty. uh, skin tone, voice, uh, 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 body, beauty, all these things in any female is represented through Venus.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So Moon is responsible for inner beauty, and Venus is responsible for outer beauty.
Okay.
Same way in gents, same way in male native.
Mm-hmm.
Sun represents soul, inner
Mm-hmm.
beauty, inner
Mm-hmm.
courage of the male native, while
Mm-hmm.
Mars represents outer physical characteristic of the male native.
Right.
Yeah, and Mercury actually represents friendliness, humor, mood. All these things are represented through Mercury. It is benefic planet. Uh, Jupiter represents our wisdom. It represents expansion. It represents teacher. It represents brain. It is Jupiter is good advisor, so it represents minister. It is nature. It is benefic planet, and the gender is male. Saturn represents dedication. It represents servant. It represents our leg. It represents our hard working. It is actually gender is male unit, and it is basically malefic planet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and Out of this Jupiter, Venus, these two planets are auspicious planets, and Varahmir himself has said that Venus is bright planet, and it is most auspicious planet among these nine. Moon can be malefic or benefic depending on its position from the sun. It is highly benefic in Purnima, on the Purnima day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it is and it is benefic between uh, fourth tithi of benefic from fourth tithi of bright half to
Mm-hmm.
10th tithi of dark
Okay.
night. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the time it is usually considered as malefic. uh, Rahu actually it is a shadow planet. Rahu and Ketu both are shadow planet.
Mm-hmm.
Mythological story goes like this. While After Samudra Manthan,
Mm-hmm.
elixir came out from the sea, ocean,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Vishnu took incarnation of this Mohini, and
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to give this elixir to devas only.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one Danav named Swarbhanu. He took the body of these devas and joined the devas side, and
Mm-hmm.
sun and moon, these two
Mm-hmm.
planets, came to know that this Swarbhanu is actually Danava, and but he has joined Devta's union. So
Mm-hmm.
they complained to Mohini, Swarup Vishnu, and Vishnu, using his chakra, cut
Mm-hmm.
Swarbhanu into two pieces from the
Mm-hmm.
neck. So the head of the Swarbhanu is known as Rahu,
Mm-hmm.
and body of the Swarbhanu is known as Ketu.
Right.
Uh, Whenever this sun rules actually our Leo sign, which
Mm-hmm.
we are going ruling of the signs we are going to understand into our next session.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Rahu actually occupies the body of the ruler of the sign, while Ketu
Okay.
occupies the mind of the ruler of the sign.
Okay. Okay.
Like that. This represents.
So,
Uh,
if we need to understand with an example, so let's say if Rahu is placed in the third house, Ketu in the ninth house, suppose
hmm,
in Aries ascendant, Mesh.
hmm.
So, how do we interpret this?
Yeah. So if for Aries ascendant, third house belongs to our Gemini sign.
Right.
Okay. So if Rahu is placed in Gemini, this means Rahu has body of his own.
Mm-hmm.
He has a mind of his own, but the
Mm-hmm.
body belongs to Mercury.
Right.
So how we can understand in that way that okay, Rahu actually represents unboundness.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it represents shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
now in Gemini, Mercury actually represents some childish attitude, some kind of scheme, whatever maybe
Mm-hmm.
business it represents. When
Mm-hmm.
Rahu is placed in Gemini, so
Mm-hmm.
this means we can say that okay,
Mm-hmm.
the mind belongs to mind is actually short. It is a mindset is the shortcut mindset, and
Mm-hmm.
it has the body of business. So there are chances that native may indulge into
Mm-hmm.
fraud schemes.
Okay. So, and so that is a very uh, uh, good way of pointing out or narrowing down. General way would be this to say that in Indian perspective, certainly we can say that the person is good at jugaad. So jugaad
Yes,
would be the right word.
correct. So
And
now,
mm,
yes,
mm. So for Ketu, how do we understand?
yes, yeah, fine. So now
Mm-hmm.
Ketu is placed in Sagittarius,
Mm-hmm.
and the ruler of the Sagittarius is Jupiter. Now
Right.
Ketu has body of his own, but the mind
Mm-hmm.
belongs to Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jupiter is actually religious planet, and
Mm-hmm.
Ketu is actually kind of spiritual planet.
Mm-hmm.
So the spirituality and religion both are joining together into this planet
Mm-hmm.
and in this particular position. So there are chances that native may be highly spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
He may be devout follower. He may be a devout follower of God. He may respect Brahmins. He may respect gurus, teachers like that. This kind
Mm-hmm.
of personalities are expected in this kind of position.
Right. Right. So yeah, that is a very good way of understanding how things work. So thanks for that uh, analysis and thanks for that uh,
So shall we go to next slide?
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are in this case we are talking about I am the planetary relationships. There are
Mm-hmm.
four kind of planetary relationships. First is exchange,
Mm-hmm.
second is mutual aspect,
Mm-hmm.
third is house aspect, and
Mm-hmm.
fourth is conjunction. Now, uh, what is exchange of the houses? For
Mm-hmm.
example, consider figure number 8. It is Aries ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
Ninth house belongs to Sagittarius. 10th house belongs to Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn is ruled by Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we see the particular position in this figure, Jupiter has occupied the house of Saturn, and
Right.
Saturn has occupied the house of Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
So this is known as exchange of the houses.
Right.
Uh, Second thing is mutual aspect. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Consider figure number B, where
Mm-hmm.
Moon is placed in fourth house and
Mm-hmm.
Saturn is placed in
Mm-hmm.
10th house. So
Mm-hmm.
in this position, Moon and Saturn, these both are mutually aspecting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, before analyzing further, let me explain you various aspects of the planets.
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter has three aspects. It aspects fifth house, seventh house, and ninth house.
Right.
It is particularly known as Dvipadrashti.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Saturn has three aspects.
Mm-hmm.
It aspects third house, seventh house, and tenth house. It is known as Ekpadrashti.
Okay.
Okay. Mars has three aspects. It aspects fourth house, seventh house, and eighth house. It is known as Tripadrashti.
Okay.
Ec- Apart from rest of the planets, we'll have only and the consider figure number B, where Moon is aspecting Saturn. It is aspecting seventh house only. This
Mm-hmm.
is known as full aspect.
Okay.
Okay, so in full aspect, it is also known as Chaturpad Drashti, but it is commonly known as full aspect. In this aspect, planet aspect the seventh house from its position, occupation house.
Okay.
Now, other than Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn, all the
Mm-hmm.
planets have full aspect as the uh, mutual aspect, full aspect as the common aspect,
Mm-hmm.
and Jupiter and Saturn and Mars will have additional aspect as a Dvipadrashti, Ekpadrashti, and Tripadrashti.
Okay.
So these three the aspects will considered as the full aspect. Now we will go to figure number C. Uh, Jupiter is placed in Scorpio
Mm-hmm.
and it is Aries ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
Now Mars is placed in Aries
Mm-hmm.
and Mars is aspecting Jupiter
Mm-hmm.
with eighth aspect.
Right.
And Scorpio is ruled by Mars. So
Mm-hmm.
this is known as house aspect. In this case, uh, uh, occupant planet,
Mm-hmm.
ruling planet,
Mm-hmm.
ruling planet is aspecting the planet into his own house.
Mm-hmm.
Our fourth important relationship is conjunction.
Right.
Consider figure number D,
Mm-hmm.
where Mars and Sun, these two planets are together in Lagna Bhav. So this is conjunction.
Mm-hmm. So, this all makes sense. So, if I talk about each one of them, so how do we understand the result of this? So, first, let's say in the figure number A, if I start with the exchange of houses, Parivartan Yog, so how do we understand what is going to happen with this?
Yeah, fine. So let us consider two cases. There are two enemies. Fine, two enemies, and somehow these two enemies are decided to live in a house of the each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what will happen that they will these two enemies will have internal fear. If I will
Mm-hmm.
try to spoil house of my enemy, he
Mm-hmm.
will spoil my house in his part of duty, in his part of role. So
Right.
in that case, both the
Mm-hmm.
planets, despite being enemy, will not try to harm the house in which they are
Mm-hmm.
occupying, because
Okay.
they will have a constant fear of
Mm-hmm.
destruction of their own house by their enemy planet.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, Jupiter, consider this figure number A. Jupiter and Saturn, these two planets are actually neutral relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So if Saturn will not harm this ninth house, because he will fear that if he harms the house of Jupiter,
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter may destroy his house of the this karma bhav, 10th house Capricorn sign.
Mm-hmm.
So both will be cross checking each other.
Okay.
Yes.
So in other perspective, if I see, so will Saturn will give the results of Jupiter and Jupiter will give results of Saturn, something like that I can say, or is it like if there is an exchange yoke, both will have kind of calm down fall in native's life.
In this case, there will be calming down of the native, and also
Hmm.
uh, they only benefit uh, result will be seen.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so there are less chances that negative result will be observed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Why?
Okay.
Because negative result means the planet sitting in that house is actually destroying the house.
Right. Right.
So his relative planet will not allow to do this thing. If another planet is destroying house, so he will also
Mm-hmm.
destroy the enemy's house,
Right.
the relative planet's house. So both will be cross checked. So mostly in such kind of exchange relationship,
Mhm.
usually benefit result only appears.
Okay. And also one thing that most of our viewers might not know that exchange between 10th house and 9th house is considered to be the one of the uh, best yoga or best Raj Yoga in the horoscope. So it is
Yes,
called Pehle Darje ka Raj Yoga, or which is a first order of the Raj Yoga. If that happens, Karma and Bhagya, if both gets exchanged, then that comes out to be the best results that one could get. So in a way, that is a very auspicious yoga to have in this horoscope. So
yeah.
coming on to the second part, if so, here we have an aspect between the two, Saturn
Mm.
and Moon. So how do we see the results of these 2?
Okay, fine. So consider there are two enemies,
Mm-hmm.
but they are indulging into the common business
Mm-hmm.
of trading.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so uh, but how both are enemy, but they have a common interest among them of
Mm-hmm.
trading business, and they both will not harm each other,
Mm-hmm.
because if they harm each other, there are chances that their common interest will be destroyed.
Right.
So this is a mutual aspect. So in mutual aspect, it will be like this. Okay, you help me, I will help you. We both will earn our business, and we both will earn our revenue.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Okay.
the mutual aspect.
Okay. So it's kind of a mutual agreement. You might
Yes,
be
yes,
boss in your own field. I will be a boss in my own field, and let's work together. So kind of
yes,
a
yes,
mutual
correct.
agreement of.
Yes,
Okay, so
correct.
coming on to the next thing, so here we have a single-sided aspect of Mars aspecting Jupiter, but Jupiter won't be aspecting Mars, but
Hmm.
here Mars is also aspecting his own sign. So
Hmm.
here, if we want to understand the results, so how it would be.
Yes, fine. So first of all, to consider the position of the Jupiter.
Hmm.
And now Jupiter is aspected by Mars, but in return, Jupiter is not aspecting the Mars.
Right.
Now, Mars, it is the Scorpio sign belongs to Mars only. So
Hmm.
Jupiter, now Jupiter is in double control through Mars.
Hmm.
First control is it is in Mars's house, and second control is it is under the Mars's aspect.
Hmm.
Okay, so in this case, Jupiter, in this case, in such kind of case, actually, Jupiter is totally under control of the Mars. It will act like his right hand.
Okay.
Jupiter will act like a right hand of the Mars.
Okay. So a fall of Mars, it will be somewhat imparted by Jupiter as well.
Hmm.
So this is one way of looking at it. And when we come down to conjunction of two planets, so it will be a
Yes,
combined effect of two.
yes. So in this case, actually, what is happening? That suppose these two enemies are placed in same room,
Mm-hmm.
there will be there are chances that both enemies will fight together with each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so actually this conjunction is the weakest relationship, planetary relationship.
Okay.
So there is a suppose in same house both the planets will be fighting for degree. Who which planet the planet will be powerful? Who has the more highest higher degree?
Mm-hmm.
And the lower degree planet will try to win the race, and he will go ahead. So actually, there will be kind of a race between these two planets.
Mm-hmm. So what we call a planetary war in
Yes, yes,
terms of astrology.
yes. Civil war, kind of civil war.
Okay. Yeah. So kind of a competing thing. So in this case, when we have Sun and Mars together, so it is usually considered that both are friends and being placed in a very, like suppose if I consider this to be Aries ascendant and Mars and Sun placed together, so Sun is getting the power and Mars being friendly to Sun. In
Hmm.
common perspective or in the traditional perspective, this is considered to be a very good yoga because this is Lagna and Pancham yoga, and also apart from that, one planet is being exalted in this conjunction, and both are being
Hmm.
friendly to each other. So, one of the very good conjunction to have in the ascendant itself. So, a common effect or the impact of this yoga, which I can infer, is that the personality, because Lagna is about the self of that person, and if it is placed in the ascendant, then this will give a personality, that native a very good personality and very good charming personality. He would be able to make a mark wherever he goes. So that is a common thing that I can judge based on these two planets being placed in the ascendant and considering that it is a Aries ascendant. That is one way of looking at a conjunction. We have also another level, and depending upon the circumstances, this analysis changes. So thanks, Rameshji. So this was all questions that I had from my side, uh, and thanks for answering all those questions. Uh, so any of our viewers, if they have any questions, they can come up with. Otherwise, I think this is it for the session. We'll continue in the next part. We will get into further more details, how to do a drill down analysis in the chart and how to find out the minute test details. So we will come up with that video in the uh, subsequent sessions. So hoping that there are no questions. If our viewers have any questions on YouTube, we can you can ask them in the comment section. We are very happy to answer that. If not, we are good to close. So thanks everyone for joining. Thank you so much for being there till the end. See you in the next video.